Well, what do I want to learn about today? Something we all use. Something we do probably every day. Some of us, like here in Los Angeles, live in these things. That's right, it's our cars. I want to know who invented the automobile. My first intuition would tell me that it's Henry Ford, but I don't think it was Henry Ford. I think he developed mass production. It would probably be someone before that. I'm gonna say somewhere in Europe. German or English engineers, because that's where a lot of the cars, those are car companies, right? Audi, Mercedes-Benz, something there. Who invented the automobile? Ooh, we have a crossroads. Without getting too complicated, I want to focus on the automobile that was made for the consumer with a gas engine. But first, the first vehicle ever made was in 1769 in France. Nicolas Joseph Cugnot made a military tractor that was a steam engine for the French army, so they could probably carry cannonballs and other heavy equipment, so it wasn't such a pain in the butt. You know its top speed? 2.5 miles an hour. Wowooga! Awooga! You would think after the steam engine we would probably get gasoline or something like that. But no, the next vehicle was electric. Shut the front door. I know, I don't know. That's what the internet says. I don't argue with the internet. I probably should sometimes, but that's what we got. Robert Anderson in 1832 developed the electric carriage out of a crude electric battery. I don't know exactly what a crude battery is, but it was an electric carriage. So basically they took away the horse, they put in this electric battery with a small motor, and off it went. I'm obviously not the best Googleizer because I can't find out how fast the electric carriage went. I gotta imagine it was not that fast and did not have much of a range, because if our electric cars now are already having a tough time keeping up with the range of gas engines, I'm gonna say it probably went a few miles an hour, nothing crazy. Behold, the first gasoline-powered automobile with an internal combustion engine was in Germany by a man named Carl Friedrich Benz. You get that last part? Benz. Yeah, that's what you're thinking. In 1885, he developed a three-wheeled, four-cycle engine and chassis from a single unit. Now, this definitely looked like I'll show it up here. This definitely was a small little carriage, but here's the kicker that I found out. Now, this thing had elements that are still in common engines today, like a crankshaft, balance weights, an electric ignition, and water cooling. But here's the fun part. It had a top speed of 16 kilometers an hour, which, if I'm not mistaken, is 10 miles an hour. 10 miles an hour. So this thing went 10 miles an hour, basically, which it's not amazing, but it's the first one. That's like a heavy jog, I believe, right? The average running speed is 6 miles an hour, so obviously you're toasting the competition, let's say that. Fun part was the range. How far did this go, right? Well, I don't know how long each tank went or whatnot, but I will say that his wife, Bertha Benz, did a publicity stunt and took her kids over to visit her mother and drove 65 miles away. Now, I believe the trip took about 15 hours because she had to stop and buy a petroleum solvent from time to time, which is, I assume, is like the gas station we have nowadays. So I don't know how many, but 65 miles, it's not bad. So that was the first three-wheeled automobile. Not long after, I think a year later, I'm gonna butcher the name, Gottlieb Wilhelm Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach, or Maybach, came up with the first four-wheeled, four-stroke engine known as the Constant Daimler. And that was also in Germany a year later. So now, you got two people making cars, both German. You've got Carl Benz, and then you've got Daimler and Maybach making vehicles. What do? They end up merging in 1926. The Benz company and Daimler Motorengesellschaft to form Daimler-Benz, which was the maker of Mercedes-Benz. And that, I believe, is where you suddenly have a Maybach Mercedes, because those were all the original people that made the cars. Now, if we jump over, there's a lot of inventions, there's a lot of creation, but I will say, obviously, it was like somewhat of a boutique and luxury game of making vehicles, and it was a time-taking process until our man Henry Ford came in, and the Model T was created in 1908. This was a sturdy, reliable, and easy-to-drive vehicle. In 1913, it was the first car to be mass-produced. So before this, the fastest time to build a car was 12 hours and 13 minutes. Then Henry Ford incorporated the assembly line, starting at building 25 cars a day. And then in 1913, with the assembly line built and the mass production, he could build up to 10,000 cars a day. He reduced it from more than 12 hours to build a car to 90 minutes, 93 to be exact. Talk about saving time. And time is money.